Hello and welcome back to Bay Area Focus. I'm your host, Kenny Choi. We're starting today's show with a returning guest and somebody we love having at our table. She's a political scientist, a White House expert, and an author. She's back to help us break down all of our political questions. Welcome, Dr. Lauren Wright. Good to have you with us.
Happy to be here, always. Yep.
All right, so let's talk about some of the headlines recently. The president tweeted out on Thursday morning, personally attacking MSNBC's Mika Brzezinski, even commenting on her face. What do you make of all of this?
You know, I think to understand this administration's Twitter problems, you have to understand their problem with their relationship with the media as a whole. And so every administration has a tension with the media from the get-go, absolutely. And the challenge is really being in a proactive rather than a reactive posture regarding the media. And the only way a White House can do that is with their control of the flow of information. That's really one of the only advantages they have. But you can't control your narrative if you're tweeting belligerently. You can't control the narrative if there are leaks. And some leaks from the president himself. And so, you know, really this Twitter account, you know, I think it's trivialized sometimes, but this is denying the administration the chance to control the narrative and to get their agenda passed in Congress.
Let's talk about his relationship with Congress. You just mentioned it. The president, during the presidential campaign, he really touted that he was the deal maker, that he was the expert on the art of the deal. How has his relationship with Congress changed? We saw just recently the GOP, Senator Mitch McConnell, saying that they have to delay the vote. How has his relationship with Congress changed, especially in the last 2 months?
You know, I think this president is really drowning in the swamp that he promised to drain. And it's not all Trump. It's somewhat, again, structural. The executive branch, in addition to our checks and balances among branches, is stacked against the president. We have a massive bureaucracy. So even if you have both houses of Congress, legislating is a big challenge. But, you know, this is not helped by President Trump's lack of knowledge and experience in Congress. And I think one of the best examples of that this month I saw was the James Comey testimony. Just the contrast between someone who has been operating within government, a careerist who has deep knowledge and experience, and Trump perhaps not doing anything illegal, but certainly inappropriate. And that's why having government experience matters, because you're dealing with people who know how to work within the system, and he doesn't.
There have been some words, staying on the topic of the former FBI Director James Comey, there have been words floating around like impeachment, obstruction of justice. If it is found by the special counsel led by Robert Mueller that there indeed was obstruction of justice, is that worthy of impeachment? That becomes the debate.
Well, that's a crime. There's no evidence of an obstruction of justice, but that's sort of the closest thing that everybody's talking about right now. You have to have intent to show obstruction of justice. I don't think we have that yet, but certainly severe inappropriateness is how I would characterize it. We don't know if he's done anything illegal, so I think it's too early to say.
All right, so there have been some really testy exchanges between the media and the White House, especially the communications staff of President Trump. What do you make of all this? How has it been affecting his administration directly?
It's really important. And, you know, like I said, the culture at the White House is led from the top. So if you have a president that's not really great with his control of information, that overshares at times, that leaks at times himself, it's going to be really hard to keep your staff in check, and you can't really you can't lead by example. So, you know, it's really, really important what's going on. I also think it's very interesting that they haven't taken advantage of Mrs. Trump moving so far. They have opportunities for positive media coverage that they're not taking advantage of, at least not yet.
And that's a great segue, because you wrote a book about first ladies and their role in the White House. Put yourself in Melania's shoes right now. What would you be telling the president 6 months into his administration?
Well, you know, I don't speculate about personal relationships that when I don't know the people personally, but I will say there seems to be a hesitancy on her part to get very involved. But again, frustrating because of the potential to help. People they trivialize the First Lady. They think it's fluff. They think it's not important. But the reason they're important is because we've seen time and time again they can influence public opinion of the president. They can shape their character. They can shape what the public thinks about their policy agenda. agenda. So when you have an unpopular president, we need to remember that favorability and approval are huge variables in your ability to get your agenda passed. And so actually it's really important if she's involved or not.
The Washington Post has been breaking story after story. One of the stories recently about Time magazine and how there was a fake cover of Time magazine in some of Donald Trump's resorts with the president on the cover. This has to be really embarrassing for the administration.
I think it is, but we've seen a lot of these types of things so far, and many of them throughout the campaign. And, you know, the bottom line is this is our president. Yes, it's important we understand what kind of person this is, but we already knew this throughout the campaign, and he won. He's the person we have. So I'm big on presidential character. I think it's really important to understand the person. But, you know, no surprise at all there when I found out about that.
What has the president done well? We have to kind of wrap it up, but what has he done well so far in his
Well,
time
he has
in his
a
office?
Supreme Court justice. I think that was smart to pick someone relatively moderate. It was tough for the Democrats to build a case against that and put them in a difficult position. He's still very good at attention getting, so whether he's unpopular or not, he has a massive audience at all times. And if he could positively tweet, that would be a really great advantage, but I think the negative tweeting isn't helping.
All right, Dr. Lauren Wright, we always appreciate your insight. And congratulations, you'll be teaching at Princeton this fall.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks,
all right, to find more about Dr. Lauren Wright, you can log on to her website. It's laurenawright.com. After the break, we have a real estate expert here to explain just what's going on in the Bay Area. We'll be right back.